Everyone called me poor. Until I discovered my true family was royalty. My name is Chanrua. I'm 24 years old, shy, observant, and raised by a widowed seamstress in a dusty alley of Nanjing. I never imagined the blood in my veins could silence rooms, or that the girl mocked for eating cold buns would one day wear silk stitched with her family crest. But this is how I found my truth. The air smelled like lemon polish and secrets. I had just finished scrubbing the antique floor of a mansion I didn't belong in, cleaning up after one of the city's wealthiest families. As I reached into my coat for my coin purse, a small medallion slipped from the inner pocket. Gold, worn, etched with a dragon crest I never understood. It clinked onto the marble floor. The butler gasped. Not out of annoyance, but out of recognition. "Where did you get this?" he asked, voice trembling. I blinked. It was with me as a baby. My adoptive mother said it was the only thing I was found with. He knelt, and held the piece as though it were sacred. "That crest belongs to the House of Shun, the royal bloodline that disappeared 2 decades ago." I laughed awkwardly. "You must be mistaken. I'm no one." But his face remained pale. "No, Miss Chen, you might be the one they've been searching for." Suddenly, I felt like the floor was spinning beneath me. Just yesterday, I was ironing someone else's clothes. Now a stranger was saying I might be royalty? My mother never spoke of the night she found me, just that it was raining, and I was left wrapped in red silk in silence. Now that silence had cracked, and it was whispering secrets I wasn't ready to hear. I didn't sleep that night. I held the medallion in my palm, tracing the dragon with my thumb, over and over again. Could it really be true? Or was this just another cruel story poor girls tell themselves to escape reality? By morning, everything changed. A black car pulled up in front of my neighborhood, the alley where mop water froze in winter and rice portions were always halved. A man in a dark suit stepped out, holding an envelope. "Chanru, you're formally invited to the Spring Court estate. Lady Shen would like to meet you." I opened the envelope with shaking hands. The letter was thick, parchment style, not printed, handwritten, and signed with a name I'd only seen in gossip columns and old aristocracy records. Lady Shen Yuanxia, matriarch of the Shen royal bloodline. "And your grandmother." I couldn't breathe. My adoptive mother said she found me wrapped in silk, red with gold embroidery. She kept it hidden all these years. Last night I found it. Inside the hem, the same emblem as the medallion. This wasn't a fantasy. It was a forgotten fact. A truth buried under time and dust. I got into the car. The ride took hours through mountains and forests, until we reached a hidden estate behind gates shaped like phoenix wings. Guards bowed. Cameras clicked. Staff lined the entrance. I wanted to run, but I couldn't turn back now. At the top of the marble stairs stood an older woman, regal in a jade qipao. She looked nothing like me, and yet, everything like me. She stared at my face for a long time, tears filling her eyes. "You have your mother's mouth," she whispered. I swallowed hard. "Am I really your granddaughter?" She nodded. "You were stolen, hidden, but you're home now." And just like that, my story began to unfold. Not in pages but in petals, layer by delicate layer. The estate was a world of silk, secrets, and second glances. The maids bowed. The garden whispered with wind chimes. And the dining hall? Bigger than my entire apartment block. Lady Shen didn't smile often, but when she did, it felt like a crown landing gently on my shoulder. "You'll be tested," she warned me over jasmine tea. "You were born for this, but you weren't raised for it." And she was right. I didn't know which spoon to use, or how to walk in lotus heels without wobbling. I called her grandma when I should have said matriarch. The others noticed. Her niece Wen Xiao in particular. Wen Xiao had grown up with grace, pearls, and silent competition. She looked at me like I was a stain on the royal napkin. "I suppose charity runs in the family," she said once, sipping wine like venom. I kept quiet, because I wasn't here to prove anything. I was here to remember who I'd been before fate dropped me in the wrong crib. But memory has sharp edges. Every corridor smelled like something I'd lost too young. Red bean pastries, sandalwood perfume. Lullabies I'd never heard but somehow recognized. At night, I snuck into the ancestral hall. Thousands of candles. Dozens of portraits. One in particular held my gaze. A young woman with my eyes and high cheekbones. My mother. She died thinking you'd been kidnapped by strangers, Lady Shin said one evening. She never stopped lighting a candle for you. That candle still burned. For me. A daughter they thought was gone. A girl the world called poor. But who carried a dragon in her blood all along. I wasn't just a guest in this legacy. I was the storm it had forgotten. And the silence it had owed. The press caught wind of my return. Lost Shin heiress found after 24 years. Royal blood or royal scam? Chunruo, the alley girl who dared to sit on silk. I didn't care. But the whispers inside the estate walls? Those cut deeper. When Xiao made sure of it. She doesn't know the rules. She holds chopsticks like a peasant. Grandmother's favor is wasted on her. One morning she accidentally spilled soup on me during breakfast. The whole table gasped. I simply stood up, wiped my sleeves and bowed to Lady Shan. May I be excused, matriarch? She nodded. Her eyes didn't leave mine. Later that day, Lady Shan summoned me to her study. A long scroll lay across the table. It's the lineage registry, she said. And this, she pointed to a blank space beneath her daughter's name, is where yours will go, if you choose it. I didn't respond right away, because the truth was, I didn't want the title. I wanted the truth. I returned to my adoptive mother that night. She cried the moment she saw me. I always knew, she whispered, that you were meant for more. I hugged her, tighter than ever before. I'm not leaving you behind, I said. I'm bringing you forward with me. When I returned to the estate, I walked straight into the ballroom. When Xiao stood by the piano smug, still playing princess? I smiled. No. I'm writing the next chapter. Then I pulled out a key. Not to the estate. To the foundation I just registered, the Ruo Fund. A scholarship for orphan girls. A future for girls like me. When Xiao blinked, Lady Shin clapped. Because I hadn't come to fight for silk. I came to weave it into something new. On the anniversary of my birth, the estate held a banquet. But this time I was the guest of honor. No gold embroidery. No designer gown. I wore a modernized cheongsam stitched by my adoptive mother's hands. Deep crimson. Simple. Proud. As I entered, guests turned. Some in awe. Some in confusion. And yet, no one could deny I belonged. Lady Shin raised her glass. Tonight we honor Chunruo. Not because she carries our blood, but because she carries our name with dignity. Applause echoed. And in that moment I didn't see chandeliers or crystal or fine china. I saw my past and my future meeting in the middle. When Xiao approached me after the toast, her tone softer than ever. You've changed this house. I smiled, not with pride but peace. I didn't come here to take anything. I came to remember who I've always been. We clinked glasses. A quiet truce. Weeks later, the official registry updated. The name Chunruo joined the Shin lineage. But it wasn't ink on a scroll that defined me. It was who I became when the world said, you're nothing. And I chose to believe otherwise. If you've ever been told you're too poor, too plain, or too lost to matter, remember this. The crown isn't something they give you. It's something you find in yourself. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of quiet power and hidden royalty.